everybody, Tekking101 here, and this video is every single Bankai in the Bleach series, who does it, and a fun fact about it. Alright, ready? Let's go! This is the Tensa Zangetsu umbrella. Why do I have this? 'Cause it's awesome! First Division. The former head captain of the Gotei 13, Shirageki Genryusai Yamamoto. His Bankai is Zanka No Taichi. It is arguably the strongest Bankai in the entire series, as Yamamoto himself is over 1,000 years old. It is broken into 4 different parts: Zanka No Taichi East, West, South, and North. Zanka No Taichi East compresses all the flames from his Shikai down to a single long sword. Anything that he cuts with this sword is immediately incinerated out of existence. Zanka No Taichi West compresses all the flames around him, making his body temperature increase to over 115 million degrees Fahrenheit. That's hotter than the surface of the sun. Nobody can even get close to him while he has Zanka No Taichi West activated. As for Zanka No Taichi South, it is arguably the most badass technique in all of Bleach. Yamamoto rises the dead, the former enemies, everybody he's slayed by his swords in over the 1,000 years in existence, and they come back as burning, charred skeletons that are basically his puppets. He can control them as he would his regular sword. And then finally, Zanka No Taichi North is basically just a massive fuck-off attack that just incinerates everything more than Zanka No Taichi East did. Yeah, a fun fact about Yama's Bankai is that it is now in the possession of Yuha Bach, although he hasn't used it yet, and some people are wondering if he ever is going to. But moving on, the former lieutenant of the First Division, Chojiro Sasakibe's Bankai is Kokujo Gonryo Rikyu. It's lightning-based. It summons a massive lightning dome behind him with lightning bolts striking out of it, and he can basically just freely manipulate and strike wherever he wants with the lightning bolts. However, he's never been shown actually using it because it was stolen by Driscoll Bursey and it was used on Yamamoto. A fun fact about this is that he's never actually used it in battle before, even though he's mastered it to please Yamamoto. And when Yamamoto was attacked by Driscoll, he stated that the Bankai that Chojiro had was not this weak. So arguably when Chojiro was using it properly, it was a lot stronger. Now the current captain commander of the Gotei 13 and former captain of the 8th Division, Shunsui Kyoraku's Bankai is Katen Kyokatsu Karamatsu Shinju. It's able to manipulate the entire battlefield, converting it into stages of a play referred to as dawns. Depending on which dawn that Shunsui is in, the entire battlefield warps. This is not an illusion. This is not just messing with the person's mind. This is physically changing the area around to suit his needs. The first dawn inflicts all the injuries that Shunsui has endured onto his opponent. The second dawn causes a disease to spread on the opponent's body. The third dawn summons in a massive underwater area where they'll both drown. And the fourth dawn causes the opponent's head to be sliced off and then subsequently blown up by a thread that he has. Fun fact about this is that his Bankai also summons his Zanpakuto Spear Katen Kyokatsu behind him, which takes the form of 2 women. Now, this is indicating that Shunsui's relationship with his Zanpakuto is a little bit more intimate and romantic, if you know what I mean. Second Division Captain Soifon's Bankai Jakuo Raikoben is a massive fuck-off missile! Yeah! I mean, I hate her character, but damn, that's cool. Her Bankai basically converts it into a giant, really heavy missile on her arm, although Soifon hates to use it because it basically goes against her pride as the captain of the Assassination Corps. It's way too big to move, and it's way too flashy to, assassinate somebody from a distance. But man, is it cool. Fun fact is, she can only use it once every 3 days. She can, use it more than that, but it taxes her considerably, which just makes it be known that Soifon has quite the considerable amount of stamina there. Third Division ex-captain Ichimaru's Bankai, Kamishini No Yari, basically just extends the Shikai ability. Whereas the Shikai could extend the sword 100 swords lengths, the Bankai can extend it indefinitely. We don't actually know how far it can extend. Gin said it was about 13 kilometers, but that was revealed to later be a lie. And he also said they can travel really fast, beyond the speed of sound, but that was also revealed to be a lie. The only thing we know for certain is it's really fucking long and it's really fucking fast. The true ability of his Bankai, though, is whenever it's extending and contracting, he can leave a little sliver of the blade inside of the person, and then he can activate the true Bankai ability, Kill Kamishini No Yari, which allows whatever area is being afflicted by the sword to be disintegrated on a cellular level. A fun fact about this is that he attempted to use this against Aizen, but it didn't really work. Not really a fun fact because he died, but that's all I got. Another former captain of the 3rd Division, and somebody you probably don't even remember because it was in an anime-only arc, is Shusuke Amagai, and his Bankai was, hold on, I have to read this here. Raika Goen Kaku. Yeah, no one remembers this. It's a giant seashell that spits fire. That's pretty much it. The current captain of the 3rd Division, if he's not dead, which he might possibly be, Rojuro Otorabashi, or just Roj, is Kinsharo Butodan. It summons an entire dance troupe that's able to be manipulated by Rose's conductor's wand. Basically, his Bankai takes the form of a concert, the different stages of a concert, similar to Shunsui's, which was a play. The first act of the play, and we don't know if this is the only things he can do with his Bankai, possibly he can do a lot more with it, but the ones that we saw were the following. Act 1, Sea Drift, manipulating sound to make it seem like an entire whirlpool is around the opponent. Act 2, Prometheus, using the same sound-based abilities. He's able to summon giant fireballs to burn the opponent. And finally, Act 3, the hero's journey was never seen because he was kind of killed by Maste Masculine before he had a chance to. But once again, we don't really know if his Bankai could do more than that. Fun fact is that he's actually manipulating his opponent's sense of sound. So even though it looks like fire and water, it's not really that. It's just that the opponent is being manipulated to the point that he feels that he's being attacked by water or by fire. Former 4th Division Captain Retsu or Yachiru Unohana, the first Kenpachi's Bankai, is Minazuki. And we honestly don't know really what this can do. Some people say it's blood, some people say it's acid, but yeah, it just summons a bunch of goop behind her, and she was killed by Kenpachi before we actually got to see what it could truly do. But it is kind of freaky. Fun fact about it is that her Shikai and Bankai actually share the same name, Minazuki. It's just a different translation for each one. Can we move on, please? This is really getting uncomfortable. 6th Division Captain Byaku Yakuchi's Bankai is Senbonzakura Kageyoshi. It can also extend the aspects of his Shikai, whereas the Shikai can only create 1,000 flower petals. This is multiplied over to hundreds of millions in Senbonzakura Kageyoshi. He can also redirect the petals using his hands, making them twice as fast, and there's a variety of techniques he can create using these flower petals. Senkei, the massacre scene, compresses all the individual flower petals down into an array of blades that he can summon whenever he desires. Gokei creates an entire sphere of the swirling mass of razor blades that he can compress on the opponent, killing them immediately. And then his final finishing move, Shukei Haku Taken, compresses all the flower petals down to a single blade with a pair of kick-ass angel wings for one final attack. Fun fact is, it may or may not have gotten stronger ever since he's been training at the Soul Palace, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. The lieutenant of the 6th Division, Renji Abarai, actually has 2 forms of his Bankai. The first form that we're made aware of is Hihio Zabimaru, which creates a massive snake attachment that he controls, kind of like a whip. His special technique in this form was Hikatsu Taiho, which basically just compresses all of his Ryatsu together into one big attack. He can also separate the joints in order to dispel certain attacks from the opponent. However, this was later revealed only to be half of his Bankai's full potential by Ichibe Hyosube, who revealed that his Zanpakuto was not really lying to him, just kind of, holding back the true power until he was ready. But after he did become ready, after he trained at the Soul Palace, Ichibe told him the true name of his Bankai, Souou Zabimaru, taking full advantage of both the snake and the baboon aspect. Now he can control an entire baboon arm on his left side, so, increasing punching power, and then the sword on his right side can be freely manipulated in different shapes and forms, relating a new technique, Hio Zeku, which is basically an attack that bites down on the opponent using the snake aspect and, I don't know, burns them to a cinder, as we've seen with Maste Masculine. It's a really cool Bankai. Hope we see it again later. 7th Division Captain Sajin Kamamura's Bankai is Kokujo Tengen Myoou. It creates a giant that is completely manipulated by Komamura. Whatever movements he makes, the giant makes. A downside to this, though, is that every attack that the giant endures, so does Sajin. However, a reverse of this is that whenever Sajin heals, his Bankai heals as well. He is the only known Bankai that is able to repair itself. Usually every other Bankai, if it gets damaged, it's gone forever, as we've seen with Ichigo's Tensa Zangetsu. Fun fact about this is that after he mastered the humanization technique from his ancient lost clan, he was able to activate Kokujo Tengen Myoou Dangaijo, shedding the armor so it's just a complete mass of Ryatsu. However, now that Komamura has been turned into, well, a dog, we don't really know if he's going to be able to use Bankai again or what form that would take. Just keep in mind, at the moment, there's nobody in the 8th Division that knows Bankai because Shunsui was moved over to the 1st Division. So moving on to the 9th Division, we have the current captain, who also probably is most likely dead, Kensei Mugaruma. His Bankai is Tekken Tachikaze, compressing his sword down to 2 gauntlets on his right and left arm, as well as this giant stretchy thing that's behind him. Don't really know what's up with that. But anyway, he can control the shape of these gauntlets on his arms. He's made them axe blades, he's made them like brass knuckles before, and every time he comes in contact with something, as long as he's in contact with the blade touching the opponent, as successive explosions will be set off, basically nuking the opponent out of existence. A interesting fun fact here with Kensei is he was the first Visor to release his Bankai. Now, the former captain of the 9th Division, Kaname Tozen's Bankai, is Suzumushi Shishushiki and Makorogi. Whilst inside this black dome, the senses of sight, hearing, and smell are removed from the opponent, allowing Kaname to attack his will with his sealed Zanpakuto. However, it doesn't take away the sense of touch, which is a fun fact. Well, fun fact for me, not so much anybody that could figure out really quickly how his Bankai works, as did Kenpachi, and he was eliminated. Also, once he activated his holification, we don't really know if he can use Bankai or if it would be different. And we won't in the future because, well, he's dead. 10th Division Captain Toshiro Hitsugai's is Daigoren Hyorimaru. It's one that's also just an extension of his Shikai. It creates massive ice wings as long as ice up and down his body, ending in a sword. He's able to use an array of icy techniques, along with the most basic and probably the most strongest technique of weather subjugation. He's able to manipulate snow and rain and frost at will. This will lead to his most strongest technique, Hyoten Hyakaso. And fun fact here is that his Bankai is probably the least difference between the Shikai and into the Bankai state. He's able to use technically any technique in his Bankai, in his Shikai, and vice versa. It's just that when he ever uses the bigger techniques like Ryu Senka and Hyoten Hyakaso while in Shikai, it's just a lot more dangerous. And also, he might be kind of inexperienced. He's trying to train up to learn his Bankai, but we don't really know if he's mastered it yet. The ice flowers represent how long he has left in his Bankai, and I'm going to assume that whenever the ice flowers are just gone and he's allowed to stay in his Bankai indefinitely, that's when he's truly mastered it, and he hasn't reached that point yet. So keep on training, Toshiro. Or not, I really don't care. I don't really like Toshiro that much. 11th Division Captain Kenpachi Saraki's Bankai is unknown. We don't know the name because it was just revealed in the last Bleach chapter, 669. It turns him into a ogre, oni, Kishin sort of deal. It removes all sense of individuality or reason or speech from him, and he just turns into a massive guts berserker lunatic attacking his opponent, which a much more shrunken down form of Nozarashi. Fun fact about this is it's the only Bankai in existence that operates in this way, actually changing the person's personality that activates it. We don't really know what's up with it yet. We do know Yachiru is involved a little bit, who is most likely the true form of Nozarashi, but as I said, it was just revealed in the last chapter, so we don't really know much about it yet. The third seed of the 11th Division, Ikaku Madarame's Bankai, is Ryumon Hozukimaru! It takes the 3 segments from his Shikai and makes them into basically just 3 massive fuck-off weapons. 2 blades that he's holding, as well as a giant, I don't know what the Japanese name for that thing is. You'll probably tell me in the comments. But anyway, yeah, his Bankai is essentially just a huge mass of power. But that's not necessarily a good thing because it means that there's no speed and no defense. Just using it once in his fight against Eterad Leones, or Anchor number 13, he managed to damage it considerably. And although Akon was able to kind of piece it back together superficially, as I stated, once a Bankai's broken, there ain't no repairing that shit. So Ryumon Hozukimaru is not even close to being as strong as it originally was. A fun fact is that Ikaku Zanpakuto Spirit Hozukimaru is a kind of a lazy oaf and takes a long-ass time waking up when Ikaku goes into Bankai. You can keep the progress monitored on the blade, and whenever that dragon is fully lit up in crimson red, well, you better watch out whoever you're fighting against, because Ikaku's about to bust out some good old-fashioned 11th squad ass whooping on ya. Yeah! 12th Division Captain Mayuri Kurotsuchi. His Bankai is Konjiki Ashisogi Jizo, creating a massive, I don't even know what this thing is. It's caterpillar, baby, bladed things. Whatever, it shoots poison. The poison can be modified by Mayuri at will. It's made of his own blood, so he's not affected by it. Neither is Nemu, his assistant captain. And his Bankai is probably the most versatile because him being a mad scientist, he's rigged it to explode in case it's ever used against him, and he used the demon womb wrapped in disease to further its evolution into a giant baby wearing a loincloth. Whatever attack or techniques that the enemy uses against the demon womb wrapped in disease will be able to be simulated by it, and then the giant baby will give birth to another giant baby via C-section that is completely modified and immune to whatever technique it learned from the opponent. Okay, can we move on? I mean, Mayuri's my favorite captain, but man, this is kind of disturbing. Yeah, a little bit. The former captain of the 12th Division and current awesome candy shop owner, Kisuke Urahara's Bankai, is Kanen Baraki Benehime Atarame. I probably pronounced that wrong, but whatever. It summons a giant woman behind him, and he's able to freely reconstruct and reconstitute whatever he desires with his Bankai. This includes repairing his eyes that were completely destroyed by Askin, or remodifying his arm to make it more stronger, or to basically allow other people in this certain field that was apparently inescapable by Askin. He was able to penetrate it. All in all, it's not really a Bankai that's known for attacking. It's more restructuring, but the things you can do with it are possibly endless, especially since Urahara is a genius. We didn't really get to see that much of it as with Kenpachi's, but it is pretty kick-ass. Fun fact about it is that he attained this Bankai the same way that Ichigo did, by using the 3-day method with the Tenshi Tai. It was kind of dangerous to do, but it's Urahara we're talking about here, so that guy pulled it off. 13th Division, Lieutenant Rukia Kuchiki, and my favorite Bleach character's Bankai is Hakka No Togame. It completely encases her in ice, making her kind of like an ice statue, which also kind of makes me question if she can even move while she's in this Bankai. And from what we've seen of it, it basically just sets off an atom bomb of cold around her. Anything that's even close to her gets frozen to the very bone and core and just disintegrates into the wind. I'm gonna say that her Bankai is one of the very few that are like a one-hit KO, because like I said, it doesn't look like she can really fight while in that state. And even the act of releasing her Bankai and going back to her Shikai state or her sealed state, it takes a lot of effort, and if you make one misstep, you're screwed over. So I'm going to say it's the one-hit KO Ice Bankai. And now, finally, the Zero Division's captain, Ichibe Hyosubi. His Bankai is Ichimonji Shirafude. It's not really called a Bankai, though. He refers it to as like the evolution of a Zanpakuto, because his is quite possibly the very first Zanpakuto ever in creation. It transforms his black pen into a white pen, and whatever he attacks with, he's able to rename whatever he strikes. So in his Shikai, he blots out whatever it is, and then in his Bankai, he can rename it. And whatever he renames it as will have the same qualities as that. For example, when he used it against Yuha, he renamed him Black Ant. So whatever abilities or power that Yuha had has now been reduced to just the power of a black ant, which is like a feeble little insect that Ichibe thought he could just smash with his hands. Of course, Yuha is freaking Yuha, and that didn't really go out too well. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's every fucking Bankai in Bleach. God, my mouth is... man, I gotta go get a drink. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I think I got them all. I think. Pretty sure. I know someone's gonna comment like, you forgot about this trivial character that nobody cares about, but it's okay. Alright everybody, see ya! Tekking signing out! Okay. I was just seeing to say, I want to see how many people are actually going to comment. Tekking, you forgot. I'm like, oh man, you guys are funny. Alright, here we go. Ichigo Kurosaki, main character of the series, Bankai, Tensa Zangetsu. We don't actually know what the current Tensa Zangetsu looks like because he hasn't used it yet after it was reforged by Nimaya, but his original Bankai was pretty simple. It just compressed down all the power into a cloak and his sword, and he was able to launch Black Etsuga Tensho's a little bit more powerful. The cloak was part of his Bankai. I guess I'll make that the fun fact. And you could basically measure how much spiritual energy he has left based on how much of the cloak is still there. This Bankai was also shared by Shiro Ichigo, or the hollow inside of Ichigo, before we found out what's up with that. And it was basically the same exact thing, except swapped color schemes there. Yeah, Ichigo's Bankai, not really that interesting, honestly, not as elaborate, I guess I should say, as the others. Oh, it also gave him super speed, which... that kind of became trivial after a while, too. Remember that? Remember when he first went Bankai against Byakuya and he speed blitzed the fuck out of him, and it's like, whoa, Ichigo's wicked fast now. And then after that, like every other opponent he's fought against, the speed wasn't really like, oh, okay, you're pretty fast. You're on par with me, I guess. I guess it gives you a decent speed, I guess. Maybe. Possibly. Unless you're Rukiora. Alright, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I might be making a video in the future about all the different Stern Raiders and their Volt standings, or at least their different individual powers, because we know all of them. Leave a comment below on what you think, and what is your favorite Bankai? Hope you enjoyed. Tekking, signing out.